Hi, welcome back to another Insider. This week we talk about something that came up recently. I think I have spoken about this before, but I think it is very important to revisit this topic and talk about certified translation in Portugal. You might find that the rules are slightly different from what we have in Australia, and sometimes when you deal with different countries, it may get a little confusing, and it's always important to know the rules. So come with me and let's talk about how is certified translation done in Portugal. Come with me. So let's talk about certified translation. You all know I am a NATI certified translator from English into Portuguese. So I would say that most of my certified translations go to the Portuguese government or any sort of authority or institution in Portugal. Usually, that goes through the Portuguese consulate in Sydney. We have a consulate in Sydney. And usually that's the starting point of my clients' applications, but sometimes it goes directly into Portugal. It is important that we know exactly how the rules work in the two countries. So it's a much better approach. And of course, if you are a translator and you are now starting your career, you must be aware of these rules and these differences in order to, you know, uh, uh, provide a much better service to your clients. Because we know clients have questions, and rightly so, because it's not straightforward. Sometimes there might be a little confusion around, especially if you are dealing directly with Portugal instead of, for example, going through the consulate that has agreements, and things might be easy. So let's start about the translation of documents for Portugal. So as you all know, there is now two associations in Portugal, but even though I've heard that one of them is trying to implement something like we have with Nati, and having certified translators there, um, it hasn't been done yet, or at least I have no knowledge of that being done yet. I have recently contacted a colleague of mine that is in Portugal. He is in the business for a very long time. He has a very good reputation among our industry, because I remember when I was taking my course, he was spoken about as one of the references for us, so a role model for new translators. So it is a respected person. He's a technical translator, and I actually contacted him to ask, um, and he obviously provided me with his opinion in what he does. So there is no certified translators in Portugal. We have NATI in Australia, and when you go and you get a translation from a NATI certified translator, that translation will have the stamp of that translator, and that is the final product. If you go, for example, if it's a translation into English that goes to an Australian authority, that Australian authority accepts it as is, because that's it. You are recognized by NATI, you are certified by them, so you have proven your qualifications to NATI, and therefore NATI provided you with a certification, and you are entitled to have your stamp and certify translations on your own. This is the rule for Australia. This is when you're dealing with Australian authorities. But when you deal with outside Australia, with authorities overseas, you must always be aware of what are the rules in that particular country. So then you know exactly what you're going to need and what to look for, what to ask when you engage with a translator, and exactly what they need to do, what you need to do. If there is a consulate, if there is any agreements with that consulate, and for example, we are talking about Australia. In Australia, you need to be informed about all of these, because sometimes when there's all these differences like there is in Portugal, there is agreements between the consulate, which is the government's representative of the government of that government in Australia, and the NATI, for example, which is what happened with the consulate. So let's say it. When we are in Australia, as I said, the translator provides you with a final product with a certified translation that is ready to go. If you are in Portugal and you engage with a Portuguese translator, that translator does its job, he or she does his job, and then that translation needs to go to an authority, to a notary. There's other professions that may also certify that translation, which is, for example, a lawyer, a notary, or in the case, a consulate, if you are outside, a consulate. And how is that certification done? Certification is done not by the person, the lawyer, that person, that the notary looking at the translation and verifying if that translation is actually correct. That's not what they do. They verify the translation, they verify the signature of the translator. The translator goes into that notary and they say, they declare that they are skilled for that translation, and that's their signature, that declaration, that is actually certified per se. And that's how it happens in Portugal. In Australia, the Portuguese consulate, since we have certified translators that have the skill and are legally certified by NATI to do the job and offer you a already certified translation, the Portuguese consulate accepts translations made only by a certified translator, a NATI certified translator, and then the consulate will look at the signature of that translator and proceeds to certify it for Portugal. This is how it happens for Portugal. They have no other way. For example, in my case, I usually print a copy of the original at the back of the translation, because it is an extra layer of safety that proves that when that authority in Portugal is going to look at that translation, they look at the verse of the page, they'll see a copy of the original, and they can actually compare that original that I declared it was the one I used for the translation, and compare it with the one the client is providing. So that is the aim of that. I've got that in my terms and conditions. I have that also in my website, in the space where I explain the service and how I quote for the service, so clients know. Recently, that came to me that the copy of the original should not be done at the verse of the page, because it wouldn't be accepted. I have contacted the consulate in Sydney, in contact with the consulate, and the consulate has said that for them there is no problem at all. In fact, they acknowledge is an extra layer of security, but I can print it in a page, in another page. Obviously, it's possible. However, I feel that that's not really an important issue here, and in Portugal they would be accepted as well. I spoke to that colleague of mine, and indeed he confirmed that that's the way he usually does it in Portugal. He prints a copy of the original in another page, and he just stapled the 2 pages. So it's 2 ways of doing things. I do it the way we usually do it in Australia. He does it the way he does there. However, it is very important to note that is the signature of the translator that needs to be certified. That it's that component that is going to be seen by a notary or any authority there. So if you are in Portugal, you obviously, I believe, you need to go to the notaries to get that translation certified. In Australia, and in regards to the consulate, the reason I do not need to be present to sign or to sign in their presence, it's because I am a Portuguese national, and obviously when I go and take care of my passport and my Portuguese citizen card, it is done in the consulate, and the consulate has my official signature that I have signed in front of them. So they have my official signature. So when they see my stamp and they see my signature, they can confirm it was signed by me, and they have been doing so for a very long time because they receive a lot of signatures from me, from my work, from my clients. So this is how it works. I will provide you with a link where I took this information, which is with the IRN, Justiça, so justice, gov.pt, and then tradução de documentos, translation of documents. This is a page in Portuguese, which you can find is from the Portuguese government, and there you have all the rules regarding certified translation in Portugal, where you can read that a consulate it's one of the bodies that can do that certification, if you like. So that's the difference. If you are in Portugal, you need to go to one of these bodies and get your signature or the translator signature certified in order for that translation to be certified. If you are in Australia, you go through the consulate, because the consulate is the body that has the power to do that. Obviously, if you go to a notary in Portugal with a signature that's someone that is on the other side of the world, unless it's an authority that may have also the official signature of that person, such as the consulate has, it might not be possible for them to do that. So be aware of this. It's a very important thing. If you are now starting your career and you have now been awarded the certification from NATI, you should also do this exercise and see in the language pair that you work with what are the regulations in regards to certified translation, because it might be different from country to country, and if there is any differences, you might be aware of those, and you need to know what you need to provide to your clients. And I would advise you to put it on your terms and conditions and put it on your website with all the information about your services, so when your clients contact you, you already have that there, you already have that information, so the client is aware of how you provide your services, of how things are done, and you don't get any confusion. I think that is the main thing here. It's paramount that you have all the information about your services in your website. I'm not even talking about a website, because I've already mentioned too many times that I believe it's essential that you have one. So there you should have all the information regarding to your services and how you provide them. So this is translation in Portugal. This is what you need to go through, what the process that needs to be gone or done, sorry, for the certified translation for Portugal. If you are in Australia, you deal with a Portuguese consulate. The Portuguese consulate will certify the translation through certifying or recognizing the signature of the translator that has done that translation. So this is how it is. I will leave the link below for these the authorities, for the government page, where you can also access all this information in regards to the translation of documents. And this was a very important insider about certified translation in Portugal. So for today, I hope you liked our insight of today. I hope if you are really starting your career and you have been recently granted the certification by NATI, first of all, congratulations for and welcome to this wonderful profession. And secondly, you need to know exactly what you need. For example, if you are doing it to English, chances are you're going to work with the Australian government, so there's not much to research there, because obviously you already know the DFAT rules and everything around the Portuguese, the Australian government rather. And but still, you need to go there and see what it's currently the regulation in terms of certified translation for Australian government and for Australian companies. But if you are doing it into another language, you need to know what are the regulations in the country that your certified translation is going to end up in, because obviously it might be slightly different from what you have in Australia. They might not have certified translators, just like Portugal doesn't. And sometimes there's agreements, like what happens with the Portuguese consulate and NATI. It's not really an agreement, is that because there is certified translators here, the consulate adopted that rule. But you always need to know exactly what the rules are, so you don't spend extra money, or your clients don't spend extra money in things that they don't need, in duplication of documents that they really don't need, or get into something that is going to be unnecessary. So it's always important, first of all, be aware of what service you need to provide. Secondly, provide all that information in your website so your clients know exactly what they must do. Have it on your terms and conditions, very important. Have it on your terms and conditions, so if something goes wrong, it's there, you know it's there. And of course, when you do a quote, with your quote, send a copy of your terms and conditions so the client knows and is aware. And then, of course, tell the client what's going to happen, so they also are aware of what's going to happen. I think this is very important. If there is good communication between yourself and your clients, I think things can run smoothly without any complications or any confusion. And sometimes this sort of situation may get a little confusing when you dealing with different countries and you go into different authorities that may tell you different things. So I would say that the most important thing is stick to one authority, stick to one place. If you have the consulate, for example, if you have the consulate here that already gives you this possibility of getting that translation certified, and when you get to Portugal, it's already, that job is already done, then I would say it's the best option, because the consulate here is one of the authorities that can certify those translations. So you have the final product and that's it. It's certified by the consulate, and the consulate is a representative of the Portuguese government. So therefore, if you go with that document to Portugal, it's obviously legal and accepted, because it comes from a Portuguese authority. The consulate is a Portuguese authority, so it's a delegation, is a representation of Portugal in other countries. So it's the same as going to the Portuguese government itself. So I would say that is the best approach to these things, and then you go from there. I think for this video, I wanted to clarify this. I wanted to make sure that you, as a translator, would know exactly what you look for and how you provide all of this information with clarity to your clients. And of course, if there's any clients, if there's anyone who would like to engage with a translator for certified translations for Portugal, I would like to also inform you how the process is done and what's the best way of you engage with a translator. When you engage with the translator, please provide all the information about what you want to do, where your translation is going to go, what exactly do you need, etc., etc. And chances are that translator, if obviously I do that, I believe that obviously a professional and good translator would do that, will ask you some questions because they want to know exactly what's going on, exactly how to provide you with the best service. I certainly do. And I think it's important that good communication between client and translator in order for the process to run smoothly in a timely fashion and with the best possible outcome for both sides. So this was my input on this topic. But if you have any questions, please leave me a comment below. I'll be very happy to answer your queries and clarify any further questions you might have. Or, for example, if you are now dealing with certified translation for Portugal and you have anything that you would like to know, please comment below. I'm very happy to help. If you have any issues that you would like to see, any questions you would like to see answered in an insider, any topic that you would like me to talk about, please do the same. Leave a comment below. I'll be very happy to address it. And like I always say, put a like on the video and subscribe the channel with a click on the bell so you get a notification of a new insider every week. Before I go, I would like to thank you all for watching. See you next week. Thank you. Bye.